بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم إن الحمد لله نحمده ونستعينه ونستغفره ونعوذ بالله من شرور أنفسنا وسيئات أعمالنا من يهده الله فلا مضل له ومن يضلل فلا هادي له وأشهد أن لا إله إلا الله وحده لا شريك له وأشهد أن محمدًا عبده ورسوله اللهم صل وسلم وبارك على نبينا محمد وعلى آله وصحبه ومن تبعه إلى يوم الدين أما بعد. Alhamdulillah, we are continuing in Surah Al-Imran, and we came to the section when Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is giving us an advice and reminding us and reminding the companion how they were before Islam and how they are after Islam. And Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala was stressing on the fact that we must be, we are advised to become a united. Okay? وَاعْتَصِمُوا بِحَبْلِ اللَّهِ جَمِيعًا وَلَا تَفَرَّقُوا, and hold on to the rope of Allah, all of you together, and do not disperse, do not divide. And remember the bounty that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala had upon you when you were on an edge of a pit of fire. So Allah saved you from it. And by the mercy of Allah, you became ikhwan. You became brothers. Okay? We talked about that is that when Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala tells us to unite, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala also tells us what we should be united on. So uniting on the way of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, bihablillah. So the unity itself, it is not a goal in itself. Okay? It has to be accompanied by what we are holding on to. Okay? And the room of the rope of Allah is vast enough for many. Okay? Meaning that the matter of fiqh could be the room of it is very vast and wide, but the matter of creed, of aqeedah, of tawheed, there is not much room in it. Okay? Meaning that the companions did differ, but they were not disunited, but they had different opinions in the matter of fiqh. We find, Abu Hurairah radiallahu anhu talks to Ibn Abbas radiallahu anhu, and then Ibn Abbas radiallahu anhu would argue with Abu Hurairah. For example, Abu Hurairah radiallahu anhu will say, سمعت رسول الله صلى الله عليه وسلم that said that if one eats, consume anything that the fire touched, or the heat touched, then he has to make wudu. Okay? So Ibn Abbas radiallahu anhu answers him and says, are you saying that if you heat water, it comes to boil, that's something heat touched, and then it cools back, you cannot make wudu with it? Right? Then Abu Hurairah radiallahu anhu would take the pebbles of the ground and put it like that and says, by the number of this, I swear by Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala that I heard Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam saying that. Okay? So now Abu Hurairah radiallahu anhu is talking about a hadith that he's saying, and now Ibn Abbas radiallahu anhu, or he heard Ibn Abbas radiallahu anhu tell him about intellect. And now there is, it's huge. It's huge. Because Ibn Abbas radiallahu anhu bring intellect over the hadith, right? So now if you look at it that way only, it is something we are saying we should not do, right? So I mean, the difference would be like that. But then we know after that Ibn Abbas radiallahu anhu has a dalil that this actual hadith, Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam did something afterwards to prove that this is gone. He's not saying that Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam did not say it, but saying that maybe that was at the beginning. But Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam was Ibn Abbas radiallahu anhu and others, and ate from something, food that was barbecued, if you will, meat, and then they prayed. Okay? So, but the point being is, you find this goes into, but the matter of Aqidah, you do not find that with the companions. Okay? Very rarely you find anything like that. Okay? The matter of La ilaha illallah is solid. So if there is something comes up that has to do with the manhaj of how to do and when to do and so forth, and some group will take, put something that they do before something else with their ijtihad, and another one will say no, this is before this with their ijtihad. They work together with whatever it is that they are expert in, if you will, or think that it must be done now, and they could work together in that. This is fine. But if you find someone is getting close to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala with something that is not described by Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, then you put the brake on. Okay? Because now this is something that should not be, because it's a matter of worship, meaning rituals, that all of it is haram except what Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala and Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam makes halal. So now it would be something that to be visited and so forth. Okay? The gist of it is, yes, that unity is a must between the Muslims, but it has to be clear that we united on the rope of Allah. That is clearly the rope of Allah. Inshallah. تفضل.
أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. ولتكن منكم أمة يدعون إلى الخير ويأمرون بالمعروف وينهون عن المنكر وأولئك هم المفلحون.
جزاك الله خير.
Let there be a group among you who will call others to goodness, encourage what is good and forbid what is evil, and it is they who will be successful.
Now, so here Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says, let a group among you do this work. Amr bil ma'ruf wa nahy anil munkar. And this is the way to success. They are the successful one. Okay. Now you look at it and say, okay, so is this literally what it is? That not all of you should be doing the Amr bil Ma'ruf wa Nahy anil Munkar? Only a group of you? Go ahead, pick a group, or it has to be a group to do this. And Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says, أُولَٰئِكَ هُمُ الْمُفْلِحُونَ. They are the one who's muflihun. What about the other one? They're not muflihun? Right? So, see, it would seem that way, right? You see, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, it seems like saying, here is a big chunk of people, pick a group from among you to do this work, and those are the successful one. That means the rest are not successful. Okay? And in the language, okay, in Arabic, you could say, for example, if you talk to someone and say, let us be from you a man who does this. Why aren't you doing this? Let's get a man out of you to do this. What does that mean? A part of you doing this? So it could be an expression of language. Okay? It is like to stress on the matter. Let it be from you, something like this, and you'll be talking to an individual. In other words, you're not doing it, or you should be doing it. And I'm telling you, you need to have the courage to do that. I'm pushing you to do this. You must be doing this. This is something, it's not a choice. Okay? And that is mostly what it is. Why? Because we have a hadith from Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wasallam does not say, generalizes this. Okay? لا تأمرن بالمعروف ولا تنهون عن المنكر. Talking to all of us. Okay? You command the good and you prohibit the evil. Okay? Otherwise, such and such and such will happen. In several hadith. So this is, it is not, Wallahu A'lam, and it's not my saying, my opinion. I'm relating opinion of scholars that this is for the whole ummah, that we should make amr bil ma'ruf wa nahy anil munkar. Okay, when our Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam puts it in general, saying, "Man ra'a minkum munkaran falyughayyirhu biyadihi." Here from you, from among you, who sees a munkar, change it with his hand. So what is from here mean? Minkum, from you. Is Rasulullah ﷺ talking about certain age? No. A certain gender? No. A certain knowledge? No. It's minkum, from among you. Okay? And then the rest of the hadith is dangerous. And if you don't change, you cannot change it with your hand, change it with your tongue. You cannot change it with your tongue, change it with your heart. And if you cannot change it with your heart, there is no an atom weight of iman. Okay? That means when you see a munkar, it has to be changed. You cannot say, where is the group that has to change this? Okay? No. Now, could it be a group designed or assigned to do this? Yes. But that would be their job to do this in a matter of the society and so forth. Okay, that would be going in the society, and they are being designated and appointed by the ruler to find the munkar that is happening and so forth. Okay, and to report and see what they're going to do with it. Why? Because there is a munkar that cannot be changed except by the ruler. Not an individual can change it, right? Okay. If somebody has a store selling something haram, you cannot say as an individual, this is haram, and you go ahead and break it down, change it with your hand. You say, Rasulullah ﷺ told me to change it with your hand. Okay. No, the ruler has to do this now. Okay. So al-hudud. Al-hudud, the ruler is the one who does that. If somebody is caught stealing, you don't go and now change it with your hand or implement the hudud with your hand. No, the ruler has to do this. So yes, there is a group that could be designated, yes, but it is not exclusive to the whole society. No, the whole society is يَأْمُرُونَ بِالْمَعْرُوفِ وَيَنْهَوْنَ عَنِ الْمُنْكَرِ. But could be a group that is designed or given by the ruler, because there are matters that the individual person in the society cannot change it with their hand, or should not change it with their hand. That brings us to what is a munkar. A munkar has to be agreed upon with everybody. Okay, agreed up that this is a munkar, or is with scholars. It's not a matter of an opinion of fiqh that a group says this is a munkar, and another scholars will say no, this is not, did not reach the munkar, and then you say I'm going to take the opinion of the first scholar and go change it with my hand. No, if there is a room in that's legitimate room, you cannot do that. So it has to be an agreement, or we cannot do that. So there has to be an agreement that this is a munkar. And the munkar is many degrees. Okay, a munkar that actually if you let it be, would be better than removing it. It could come to that, because what are you trying to do? You're trying to do to remove a munkar and bring goodness. So you might be seeing something that is munkar, and try to remove it is going to cause a harm, even though it is a munkar. So you say just keeping the munkar as it is better to keep the peace. Okay. Example of that, when Ibn Taymiyyah rahmahullah was with the some of students, and the Mongols were there at the time and causing a lot of harm. So soldiers of the Mongols were drunk. Okay. And the companions wanted to do something about that you should not be drinking this and this, you cause harm when you drink and so forth. He told them, stop. If those are not drunk, what are they going to do? They're going to go after you with the sword. So being drunk and causing a little bit harm here and there, that is better than being sober and going after you with the sword. Okay? So that is a munkar that's happening, but you don't advise against doing something about this, because a bigger munkar will come in. Okay. So now Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is saying that وَلْتَكُمْ مِنْكُمْ أُمَّةٌ يَأْمُرُونَ بِالْمَعْرُوفِ وَيَنْهَوْنَ عَنِ الْمُنْكَرِ. That there's command from among you, a group, or all of you, and both of them, both opinions or both way of reading it is okay, or explaining it is okay. That's all of you must do that, and a group of you could be appointed for that. It depends on who is appointing and so forth. And these are the one who is muflihun. What is so now? These are the one, meaning what? The ummah now is the ummah mufliha. Okay, the meaning the one who implement this. And what is falah? Falah is success. Okay, and the falah is coming from filaha, and filaha is actually tilling the land to do the work of farmer. Falah actually is a farmer. Okay, so meaning success in a way of bringing or being able to see the fruit of your work and to do the harvest of the fruit. Okay, so a society who do not do this and find out a munkar and a ma'ruf and try to do that is a self-destructive society. Now, what is the measure of what is ma'ruf and munkar? It's the measure of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala and Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wa sallam, right? Meaning the wahy is telling us what is ma'ruf and what is munkar. So you go to a society that does not have a measure of absolute. A society of everything and anything goes because everything is relative. Okay? So if you're doing something munkar and really, really bad, but it's not harming somebody else, you should not be, don't say anything or do anything about it. Okay? Because if you think this is bad, you think it is good. So it is up to him. So there is no agreement with the whole society in something that is what is bad and what is good. There is no general agreement. Okay? So even to the point of reaching the fitrah could be suffocated so much that the natural state of a human being immediately rejects something vigorously, but other society will take this and say it is normal, it is okay. There is a lot of examples nowadays. The time of Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam, it was burying a baby girl, an infant girl, alive. And who's doing this? The father is doing this. Okay. And how this acceptable, how a person could do this, and how the society would accept this, must have been something that happened gradually, little by little, caused sickness in the society of how to look at women generally, and seeing women could bring shame of this and that, and the whole puzzle of the society is just sick. And the sickness went to the point that for a person to prevent something in the future happen from a woman in his family, it will suffocate her alive right now. And it is okay in the society. Okay? So here it is, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is telling us there is no falah if you don't do this. There is no success if you don't do this. And what is success? That is a different story now. What is your measure of success? The society we are in, the measure of success is how much you're in control, how rich you are, how many things you have, how many stuff that you have. Okay, you have a lot of stuff, you're successful. Okay, this is not our measure. Okay? We talked about last week about a Muslim who said he was a Muslim and he joined a church, a Unitarian church. When we were going there and to give da'wah, and he was there, and his measure is this: is that they have stuff, this is success. And the Muslims have less, so therefore they are not successful. So Allah must have loved those and disliked this, Okay? So the idea of saying, who are we to judge? This is the society we are in. But we Muslims say, yes, we judge. The Quran itself is Al-Furqan. It separates between things. Say this is haram, this is halal. This is injustice and this is justice. This is beautiful and this is ugly. Okay? This is to be loved and this is to be hated. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is teaching us to do this. Okay? So now what to do about it is different. Okay? What to do about it is different. So not everyone who is doing an action of kufr, first of all, could be a kafir. Right? As the scholars are saying, a person can fall into kufr, but kufr does not fall on him. Not necessarily, because he does not have the knowledge that this is kufr. Okay? And then a kafir themselves, and that falls into kufr, and kufr falls on him, and clearly is a kafir. We cannot say he's not a kafir, or we don't know what it is. No, he is a kafir. Clearly, if somebody says, takes a partner with Allah, someone says, rejecting the Quran and so forth, somebody does action of kufr, take the Quran and cut it to pieces, yes, he's a kafir. But now, what is the relationship? Might not be animosity. Animosity to what he carries, not necessarily to what he's, to him, meaning as we could be responsible for one another, you know, if we are neighbors, and on and on and on. Okay? But this measure of the measure of what is halal and haram, or what is munkar and what is ma'ruf, has to be there, and we cannot say we should not have it, or we should not judge. Yes, we judge. And the youth in this society is growing like this. Okay? And sometimes you find youth looking at us when we make a judgment, and they say, they shy away from that, and they look at us differently. That's because they're exposed to a society that trained them not to do that. Okay, trained them not to do that. And that is very dangerous, very dangerous. Again, it is the very first revelation, very first revelation, Surah Al-Alaq. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala telling Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wa sallam, do not obey this and make sujood and come close. Okay? So you're making a judgment. Okay. Here is the first revelation saying that La tuti'hu, do not obey him, and he was the one who's telling you not to pray. Okay. أرأيت الذي كلا إن الإنسان لا يطغى أن رآه استغنى أرأيت الذي ينهى عبدا إذا صلى. Have you seen the one that stops a abd of Allah from praying? So do not obey him. In other words, go ahead and do the acts of worship. But then in the next surah was revealed, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says, وَلَا تُطِعْ كُلَّ حَلَّافٍ مَهِينٍ هَمَّازٍ مَشَّاءٍ بِنَمِيمٍ مَنَّاعٍ لِلْخَيْرِ مُعْتَدٍ أَثِيمٍ وَتُلٍّ بَعْدَ ذَلِكَ زَنِيمٍ. These are description of qualities. Do not obey any of this. Okay? Saying that all of this is not acceptable. The time is very short today. So yes, no, yes and no in the same sentence. The judgment has to be there. Okay, the judgment has to be there, but what to do about it is different. Even when there is an agreement that if this is a munkar, yes, this is a munkar. But what to do about it now? You have to be wise in this, and the Sharia that tells you that this is a munkar is the same Sharia that tells you how to change it. Right? Okay. It is just like the other side, which is when the Sharia tells you something that is extremely good, the goal is very good, it's the same Sharia, it tells you how to get to this goal. You cannot separate them, because sometimes we fall into this. We see something that is really good and say, my intention is good to do this, and you tell me what the result is that you're looking for. Now you're going to achieve it in any way, shape, or form. No. The Sharia that is governing the munkar is the same Sharia that's governing the way to change it. And the Sharia that is telling you about the goal, the noble goal, is the same Sharia that tells you how to change this goal, how to get to this goal. وصلى الله على سيدنا محمد وعلى آله وصحبه أجمعين والحمد لله رب العالمين. If you'd like to make any comments, inshallah.
I have a comment.
تفضل.
Okay, As you said that Amr bil Maruf Nahi Anil Munkar should be done by a group of people which are authorized to do it because they have authority to, change like Munkar and all that.
That's not exactly what I said. That's not exactly. There was a qualification there. It says that in certain matters, not in all matters, that the society can change the munkar. A whole society can change the munkar. Okay? But there are certain matters that a group could be assigned to change that munkar, which is with the ruler will designate him to do so.
So now this men, which says men whom,
Mhm.
is tab'idi or it is zaida? Is it farz kifaya or is it farz ain?
It is fard ain on everyone to when they see a munkar to change it. And يأمرون, it's fard ain on everyone. However, there is some matters that it should not be changed by the public, if you will. Okay? The ruler has to do this, not the individual.
Okay, but now suppose you are living in America, which is not an Islamic country, so there is no jama'ah like that. There is no group,
Mhm.
special group.
Mhm.
So in the when you are in minority, some of the scholars say that this becomes farz ain. But if you are, a khilafa, and if you have an Islamic country and they have a particular group who is authorized by the government, to do all these things.
If I am in my household
Yeah.
and my son brings something home, right, that should not bring home, or see something he's doing is munkar, it is, I'm responsible to change the munkar.
Even if you are, yeah.
It's my family.
So it means it's farz ain.
Yes.
So it's a min zaida, that means. It's not min tab'id.
It is both. It is both. Okay? The munkar could be in different degrees. A munkar that is, when you see someone in your family doing something wrong, you're obligated to change it. You're obligated to change it with your hand too.
That's
It
because of
it
the
is.
hadith you're talking. Now, in the ayah, it says minkum, and that particular group who's authorized, it has a special knowledge about it. Because everyone does not have the knowledge, which that particular group will possess. So, those who are ignorant, they don't know how to do the munkar change and they are not aware of that, they can even make it worse. So, what I'm saying is that the farz ain, when there is, in the absence of this group, it's farz kifaya, but in the absence of a group like that, then it becomes farz ain, or it's farz ain throughout, like min zaid.
What I'm saying, there are different issues. The issues, okay? For example, if somebody in a Muslim country started to, let us say, establish a lending bank or a group, okay, lending people with riba, for example, okay, and put in a system like this, how an individual can do that to change that munkar? Individual cannot change that munkar. However, the ruler has to do this. So now there is a group that the ruler will assign to change that munkar. You understand? But if it is a matter within my ability to change, I'm obligated to change it. So it's a matter of the issue itself. Is it an issue that the ruler is responsible to change it, or the individual is responsible to change it. Wallahu a'lam.
Okay, so, in Tafsir, it says that everyone is not qualified to handle situations, they have to be specially trained and they should be, have the authority, and all those things are necessary, with that group. And if it is a Khilafah, for instance, or an Islamic country, they can have a group like that. But the other people, the scholars which I have heard from, they say that it's a farz ain if you are living in a non-Muslim country. So
How is a fard ain in a Muslim
I think
country?
it is relative, as he's describing that whatever we can do, there are 3-4 degrees. So like for example, as you mentioned that if somebody's in the system itself, somebody introduced some very haram thing, even if it is Islamic country, even if it is for the iron on you, we cannot stop that. Because we don't want-
If there is a store, a liquor store, that's built right next to the masjid here, and people are coming out of it at night, driving and having accidents, and this is definitely a munkar. According to what you're saying, because we are in a foreign land, it's a fard ain for me now go change it with my hand? No?
we cannot. But we can
there are
at the same
certain
time.
munkar people cannot change.
Yeah, but
Exactly, that's what we're
At the
saying.
same
yes.
time, like my neighbor, he's not coming. He's a Muslim. He's not coming for salah. It's also munkar. I can
So
go and
it
remind
is
him.
farz ain as well as farz kifaya, both.
That's what I'm saying, yes. Yes.
So min zaida or min tabeel, both. Because the further you will get another.
What I'm saying is that there are scholars say this min in this sentence, it is an expression of language. And some scholar that I heard personally from them, that this is an expression of language. Like if somebody says, in Arabic would be, saying that the meaning of it, that, you're not a man, and this is happening here. Why? You're not a man enough? Let be a man from you to do this, from you. You are an individual, so an expression of this. And they relate, this is because of a hadith and so forth does not distinguish a group. A hadith say everybody is responsible. And if you're not changing the munkar, then the harm will be on you and the whole society. So, Wallahu alam. Anyone?
Now I have a question.
Mhm.
So since we are on the topic of rulers and everything, so like what if the ruler introduce munkar, in a Muslim country, like he is trying to say that women and men should have equal property or something like that,
Mhm.
So at that time, if the people protest, if the Muslims
Mhm.
revolt against the ruler, because the ruler he or she is Muslim
Mhm.
by name,
Mhm.
they are the ones who are introducing munkar
Mhm.
in the state level.
Mhm.
So
So, what are you saying now?
the question is,
Uh-huh.
if the Muslims of that country
Mhm.
would try to stop it by themselves,
Mhm.
is that something that is allowable
Okay.
in a Muslim country?
The same rule goes, which is, what is the harm that will come out of that?
The people will no longer follow the Allah's law in distribution of property.
If a society that is injustice is happening in it, let us say generally injustice is happening in it, okay, and which is mostly in the Muslim lands, okay, and how the world is today when a country is weak, therefore they need money and they are given loans, and they're being suffocated even more, and so forth, and you find the resources are gone, and other foreigners are taking care of this and that. Now, it's a huge picture of corruption, right? And we tend to look at one individual there, right? And say, this person has to change because he's doing this and that, or not doing enough this and that, and so forth, and try to topple him and so forth. That is not wise, because you take him out, and the one who control really is other entities all suffocating you. Nothing will change, but it's going to get worse. It's going to get worse. In Egypt, when one was changed, Mubarak was changed, right? And the revolution and all of this and so forth. Right? Now, the one who, they're now saying, we wish to have the days of Mubarak back.
Both harm came after.
Okay? Okay. Why? Because you need to look at this. You need to find out which munkar you're going to attend to first. There are plenty of munkar. Okay? Which munkar that you have to attend to first. Okay? For example, if you're not harvesting your own food, no matter what you do, you're going to be oppressed. So you can have a ruler doing this, a ruler doing that, a country doing this and that, and maybe the wise person would say, we need to cultivate more land and work in this. And there will be a lot of bloodshed and all of this. One put it in a very good example. He said, someone looks on a river, okay, and he see a baby floating in the river, okay, baby floating something in the river, and he jumped into the river to take the baby and save the baby, and then he found another baby, so he jumped in the river and then he trying to get the babies out, and then he sees a man walking by. He said, come and help me, okay, I'm going to help me, there's a lot of babies coming. So the man on the shore looks at him and then looks straight and go walk. And keep walking, right? And then eventually this man found that there is no more babies coming. Alhamdulillah, and done whatever it is. Now he goes on shore and see the other man. He cursed him. Yeah, I told you to come and help, and you see me there. He said, I wanted to know where is the baby coming from. I wanted to go to stop this from the very source. Okay? So this one was wise. Okay? Seeing something outrageous happening, but he's holding himself back because he's thinking, what must be done? This is a munkar. Okay? That has to be stopped. But there is a greater munkar that is down the river that has to be stopped. Okay, so, we need a little bit of wisdom to think about this.
So your suggestion is like it's better not to do anything, right?
No, to do something. Yes, but what to do? But you're going to
It's
go.
like for the society to decide.
You're going to go to the leader, okay? And if the leader, he himself is not the leader, he looks like the leader. But what's running things are other
He's
entities.
the one implementing it.
Huh?
Anyway, Imam, I think this one I raised because there was something like this in my country, Bangladesh.
Uh-huh.
So what the Muslims did, they called them Tawhidi Janata, like, the people of followers of the Tawhid, they went, protested, this and that, against the government. And eventually the government stopped from doing this. And they never came back to implement this kind of law again. So I mean, because they fought back.
How is the country now?
That was 10 years ago. Recently, the people again fought back, and the person that Zalim is now gone. So now I think it's better. I think because like now we have more freedom to practice the religion at the moment, at least. But when that Zalim was in power, you couldn't go to the mosque Because if you walk to the mosque, the cops will come, hey, where are you going? Like this was how it was. You know, they don't want to see a young man go to the mosque. You know, they will walk to the mosque. If you are at Fajr time, you are walking to the mosque, there is chance they will come pick you up. If you are going to the mosque giving some leaflet, it has happened to my friends. Like they took them to the, to the jail. So when you are living in a society of like this, if you don't say anything, they will like crush you in such a way you will never be able to come back from there. I mean that's what I have experienced. Like let me tell you, my dad, because I had a beard, may Allah have mercy on him, he passed away. When I was coming to USA, I went to the university to get recommendation letter. But my dad was so scared. I am a 23-year-old boy. He's scared to let me go by bus alone to the university. Because at that time the situation is so bad. Like anyone who has beard, like picking them up, taking them somewhere, you don't know where they are going. My dad went with me to the university and sat outside, with the guards, while I went to the professor and bought these papers. So these kind of things, the Muslim people, the Muslim government, like the ruler, they can actually do. So I mean, it's not always like, I'm just saying, like from my experience, like, these people are evil to another level. So even though they have a Muslim name, how much they are Muslim, that is like a questionable. And I think sometimes like if people don't do anything about these people, they will just crush you. They will not allow any Muslim thing in the country. Even though the country is 95% Muslim. I mean that's just what I have experienced.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, alhamdulillah.
Yeah.
Maybe this surah is about the government itself. Inshallah, during our we can talk to you. Yeah.
سبحانك اللهم وبحمدك أشهد أن لا إله إلا أنت أستغفرك وأتوب إليك.
Which country you from? I'm from Bangladesh. From Bangladesh. Yeah.
عليكم السلام.
So that's why.
Yeah, and all the Jamaat Islami leaders.
Now they, yeah, I mean.